My name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 23, verse 4. Do not weary yourself to gain wealth. Cease from your consideration of it. And he goes on, when you set your eyes on it, it is gone. For wealth certainly makes itself wings like an eagle that flies towards the heavens. This is very important counsel when it comes to money, obviously, but especially if you read verses 1 and 2, because it's written to a person who has just come from a very well-to-do person's house. And he says, when you leave that person's house, consider what you've seen and consider these things. And the first thing he tells us is, do not weary yourself to gain wealth. But we need to remember that the Bible is not against wealth or money. What the Bible warns against is the love of money. And I think we see in these two verses what that love of money looks like and why the love of it is so destructive and harmful. He tells us that the love of money causes people to weary themselves to get gain. They work insane hours. They work themselves to death, literally, some people. The motivation Proverbs tells us is not to make ends meet or not to do a good job, but to try to gain wealth, to get more and more and more. And this is a very dangerous pastime or pursuit because the desire is never satisfied. As one rich person quipped years ago, how much is enough? Well, just a little bit more. The love of money does not bring contentment, satisfaction. It just brings frustration, a deep-seated discontentment, never enjoying what we do have. But it does more than just wear us out. It consumes our focus. It is always in our thoughts and our consideration. It's all we think about. Everything is evaluated on the basis of money, money, money. The love of money consumes our energy and it monopolizes our thoughts. In verse 5, we see the deceptiveness of money. When we set our eyes on money, it's gone. It makes itself wings like an eagle and it flies towards the heaven. It is there, and then it is gone. Money can serve us well if we are the one in control. But for those who love money, whose thoughts are consumed with money, money calls the shots. Money makes the choices. Money sets the priorities. Money becomes the chief end of man. As the saying goes, if you want to know about what this guy is like, person is like, follow the money. Everything, every decision, choice we make, how we use our time, becomes about money. And Jesus was teaching in the real world, and he knew this was on the thoughts of a lot of people, and consumed a lot of people's time and energy and thoughts. And so he says this in his first Sermon on the Mount, in Matthew chapter 6, verse 19. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in or steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And then Jesus speaks about worry, next few verses. What do most people worry about? Money. What they will wear, what they will eat, what they will live in. It boils all down to people worry about money. But he ends that chapter in verse 33, says, seek first the kingdom of God. Set your mind on that. Consider that. Use your energy in pursuing that. And all these things will be added to you. That God will meet our needs. Paul, writing to Timothy, put it this way, if we have food and clothing, with these we shall be content. But those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a snare, many foolish and harmful desires which plunge men into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil. Some, by longing for it, have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. What are you seeking after? What are you working for? What part does money play in your thoughts and your time and your energy? Is it that God might be glorified in your life or that you might get more and more and more? Do you have the strength and the time and the thoughts and the desire for family and serving others? When opportunities come up, when we see needs, when choices need to be made about how I use my time, how I use my money, what is the first thing you think about? Whatever it is, that is your master. And sadly for many people, it's money. And I think about the Good Samaritan. You saw the man in the ditch, been robbed and beaten. And two guys just walked past the other side, but this man stopped. And put him up in a hotel, bandaged up his wounds, and said, listen, if he incurs more expenses than this, when I come back through, I'll pay them. Here was a man who was not consumed with money, but with caring. This decision to love his neighbor was going to cost him. And we don't know much about the Samaritan, but we do know he's called the Good Samaritan, but he's not called the Rich Samaritan. But he cared and he loved, and love sometimes costs us money. Why don't we love like we should sometimes? Because we're in love with money. and money is a terrible taskmaster. So Solomon warns us, do not weary yourself to get gain. Cease from your consideration of it. And Jesus warns us about this. Why? Because life does not consist in the abundance of the things that we possess. The quality of our lives has everything to do with our relationships and virtually nothing to do with how much money we have and the things that we have. And so Paul ends his instruction to Timothy in chapter 6 with these verses. Instruct those who are rich in this present world not to be conceited or fix their hope on the uncertainty of riches, but on God, who richly supplies us with all things to enjoy. Instruct them to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share, storing up for themselves the treasure of a good foundation for the future, so that they may take hold of that which is life indeed. And that's a good reminder for us all. May this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.